Hi Leo, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. This is your reading for Venus Retrograde. This is my Nirvana quartz I want to show you guys. I've been showing everyone because I found it again. It's like my favorite crystal. My friend sold it to me and they're usually quite white, but this one is red and I just love it so much. It's a very high vibe crystal and yeah, it's just very special to me. So I'm glad I have it. It's like an orangey red, but anyway, it shouldn't be that dark, which is great that it is. Anyway, Leos, meow meow. I have lots of energy. I had a coffee and I'm excited to tell you guys about this because I've been mulling over this transit for a while. And one of the things you guys don't know is I really value my delivery in terms of how I present the information and what I say to you and, all of that. So this transit is very busy, Venus retrograde. It began on December 19th and ends on January 28th, so 2 days from now. And this should really be called Venus Direct, and I think some of the videos will be, but yours is still going to go up while Venus is retrograde. And so there's a lot of transits happening. And so I was like weary. I'm like, how do I explain it all? And I finally got it with Taurus. If you watch my Aries and Virgo videos, they're kind of all over the place. But now I got my stride. So we're going to talk about astrology today. We're going to start with tarot. We're going to do the heart shape spread, which you guys probably know. If you don't know it, I'll explain it. It's a really good spread for love readings. And yeah. And because there is a lot of transits, I'm also going to do a collective reading. So it will be for everyone, in which I go through everything in detail. So today is going to be astrology for your sign, sun, moon, and rising, but it's going to gloss over things a bit. So the more detailed video is coming up to explain the sequence, because Venus retrograde is very much about sequence energy. So we'll talk about that there. Okay, so we're starting off with tarot for the general environment to get a feel for your energy. So 5 of Pentacles right away tells me that a priority at this time is shared responsibility or sharing an experience, more of a companionship card. It's about weathering experiences together, right? And so being there with others through difficult times and easy times, and whether you're single or in a couple, this is a priority for yourself and the people around you at this time. The next messages describe your expectations or your mindset. The first card is the Chariot, which is traditionally ruled by Cancer. It may refer to the sign of Cancer, but not necessarily. And the High Priestess, which is also quite Cancerian card. The Moon, Cancer, Pisces, all those energies. So we have the Chariot and High Priestess. To me, I feel as though you're really diving deep and you're gaining a deep appreciation for understanding things. And so the Chariot and the High Priestess communicate to me that you're coming to terms with certain things that were overwhelming you. Let's say you had bad experiences in the past in relationships, somebody hurt you, and it kind of, when you have a bad experience and it sort of weighs you down, and it's not necessarily that you're hung up. Well, maybe it's like a version of being hung up, but the complicated nature of love or your experience is so heavy that it complicates things. So we have the Chariot and the High Priestess, and usually those profound experiences, those karmic experiences, they have a huge reference to a deeper understanding. Now, I'm not someone who's going to tell people that bad experiences are good because they enlighten us, because I think that that's going overboard. Bad experience is a bad experience, and it's too bad that it happened. But if it did, then there's still a takeaway from it. And so, especially if something's really hit home or hit deep or has been complicated or heavy for you, I think that you're really reconciling it. Sometimes when you're really upset about something, you can't think about it clearly. This is clarity. So this is clarity and good reflection about your relationships in the past. And your relationships in the past have been heavy for you. I know this from previous readings. For the last few years, there's been a decoupling going on for you and other people. And this has been a huge theme for Leos for a long time. It's like you're out of the woods, you're back in the woods, you're back and forth between caring and moving on. And so, yeah, so this is like a higher, like I think that you're in a mindset of overcoming and getting on with it. And I'll show you astrologically how that relates, because it actually relates really well. People ask me, how does astrology and tarot work together? Tarot is associated to astrology through associations, and I think that's like more of a modern thing. And when you can kind of know what the cards represent, you can place them astrologically and then relate to them to astrology. So in other words, you have to know astrology and you have to know tarot to do this well. Some people can do it intuitively too, but there is like a system that's doing this. Okay, so this is the environment around you or your partner and their feelings. So if you have a partner, they're reaching out, which is the Eight of Wands. So in whatever way, I could see that there would have been problems in the past and now they're reaching out to you in a certain way. And then we have the Magician. You have a very active environment around you. This is Mercury in Sagittarius, and this is Mercury, the Magician. And so basically I could see, so let's break it down. If you have a partner, then they're initiating a lot of good faith towards you. And if you're single, there's a lot of positive energy in your environment around you, bringing energy back to you. And I think that's what I was trying to say about the last few years. The last few years, you have been very willing to participate, maybe with a single person or with others, but you have been pushed out, no matter how much goodwill, and Leo is goodwill energy, no matter how much goodwill you put in. I have North Node in Leo, and I'm a Leo Virgo. I don't know if you guys know that. I have a lot of Leo energy, and we're very bubbly. We're very from the heart type people, but not everyone always wants to be from the heart, right? So especially in extended periods or extended experiences, when you're going to different people around you and you're trying to be from the heart and they're just not seeing it, that can be a difficult time. That can be a time of, hey, where's that reciprocity? What I see here is that reciprocity. So maybe you've been out there in the desert for a while looking for reciprocal from other people. And so it looks like the Magician in Eight of Wands is bringing that back in for you. Now, so this is my little Nirvana quartz, and this is very, very strong energy for Leos. Sorry. That is very strong energy for Leos because it is very optimistic, high vibe. And the person who sold this to me, my friend, she said, when I meditate with this, it's like I go to fairyland. So it has that very airy fairy energy. So this Eight of Wands and Magician, it really feels like you've been sitting there waiting for the right environment, right people, and the transits just have not been there, maybe like little blips and turns, but the Magician and the Eight of Wands is sending you really good direction. Okay, so now I wanted to get into the astrology. As I told you before, I'll do a collective. Why did this not change? Hold on. It should be, I don't know why it's not Leo. Mercury retrograde, hold on. Okay, we have Leo. I know what's going on. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So, so we glitched. So I just did Taurus last. That's why it was on Taurus. So, okay. So I'm gonna do a collective for the detailed astrology. There's just too much here for me to cover it 12 times over. So I'd rather explain to you the general gist as it applies to you, and then we'll go into the details in a collective, and that will be out shortly. Members, there's an extended members that's going to come out, not like an extended clarifier for this. It's actually going to be focused on love for the spring. So I'm still working on the astrology. I thought I was going to get the first ones out today, but I think maybe more realistically towards the weekend a bit more. There's a lot for me to research and figure out. So when that is available, it will be in the description. and there will be a direct link and in your Leo playlist down below. So go check that out. Private readings are still through a direct link. Of course, it gets deprioritized rebuilding my website. So just use the direct link. People are buying them. Everything's great and it works fine. Also, I'm doing short videos, so under a minute. For now, I'm putting them on Tarot Talk, which is like an old channel of mine that's not monetized. Shorts are not monetized. So while I figure that out, if you want to watch daily content from me that's a minute long and you don't want to get spammed on this channel, just go into my shorts, which is called, it's on Tarot Talk, which is my other channel. Okay, so let's talk about the astrology, shall we? Kind of excited. So this is what I'm seeing. Realistically speaking, Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde are happening in your 6th house. That's Capricorn. It's not really that's going to really spark things off. It's Aquarius, because Aquarius is your 7th house of partnership. We have the sun already in Aquarius, so you're already seeing this optimism energy, this fast-moving energy moving your way. But when Mercury enters Aquarius, Mercury will enter Aquarius on the 14th of February, and when Venus enters Aquarius with Mars on the 5th of March, things will pick up speed. So you will see an increase already, but at this time in January and February, I think a lot is happening for you internally, which means you're coming to terms with things. You're coming to terms with things. You're figuring things out. You're gaining your insights about things that previously were distressing to you, and you're feeling better about them. So those are wonderful things. Through this time, through January 25th, which is yesterday from the time of filming, through to February 14th, and definitely through March, Venus is going to form a lot of very significant aspects and conjunctions with other major planets. Major, okay? So first off, she's going to form a conjunction with Mars on the 4th of February. That conjunction will be exact on the 16th of February, and then they will transit through Capricorn and enter Aquarius together on the 5th of March. This is important for you, Leo, because that's your 7th house of partnership. That conjunction is exact at 0 degrees of Aquarius on March 5th, the day that they enter into Aquarius. If you've been watching my channel, or if you know astrology yourself, you're like, 0 Aquarius, where do I remember that from? Well, there was a conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter at 0 degrees Aquarius in December 2020. It was called the Great Conjunction, right? This symbolic moment of shift to air energy. If you watched my intro Welcome 2022 video, it's linked in the description for your sign. I may have mentioned that our energy is shifting overall from Earth to air energy. But this year, 2022, will go back to being earth and water oriented for a good portion of it. So it's our pit stop before things pick up. As a fire sign, you're very complementary to air. So for you, things are shifting in a direction that's very harmonious to you. And so as Venus and Mars enter into Aquarius at 0 degree, this first degree of any sign is so symbolic, it is going to push you in this amazing direction. And for you also, it's the 7th house. So when we're talking about Venus retrograde, we're talking about love, we're talking about relationships, partnerships, powerful turnarounds. So in other words, before March 5th, you're leading up to some huge moment. And for you, each of you will be different. If you're in a relationship, your relationship might get very serious. We'll see in the tarot if we get messages about that. There might be a powerful resolution. Or if you are single, then your relationship status may change, or you may have a miracle moment. There's a couple miracle moments this year that I'm going to get into later, but this might be one of them, March 5th, for you, specifically for you. By the way, this Mars-Venus conjunction actually started in your first house in July 2021, so last year. I talked a lot about it, so if you were following me, you knew about that. So this is a continuum of this relationship dynamic between Venus and Mars going back and forth together. They always do that. They're inner planets, but it's kind of symbolic and beautiful. So I know that's a lot of information. I don't want to overwhelm anyone. If you're new to astrology, just understand these transits are in your 6th house. So you're still at this time through this until about, I don't know, the 14th of February and definitely till March 2nd, focusing more on the self. And you're going to have a series of, events come up in your life that are going to reframe things for you. Now, I want to just mention something before we move on. Venus retrograde also governs money. It's traditionally ruling the 2nd house. In your chart, it rules, where's Libra? The 3rd house, and Taurus, where's Taurus? Taurus is the 10th house, career. So it's still pretty, impressive placement. That's a little bit too technical. But Venus, suffice it to say, Venus rules the 2nd house of money. And so it has to do with career. It has to do with money. It has to do with all these things. And so because she's retrograde, this isn't just a transit to do with love for you. This is a transit of career metamorphosis. And look at what you have in the career house, in the 10th house, North Node and Uranus right there. So this recycling, this transformation of whatever Venus has brought into your career life will translate into progress as she creates angles to these transits. Namely, in this last week of January, Venus is forming a perfect trine to Uranus until about the first week of February, and waiting until Mars forms a conjunction with her. So they're both moving into an aspect, a positive aspect to Uranus in your 10th house. Uranus in your 10th house, I am so happy that you're having this transit. As a Virgo, I can't wait for this myself. I'm up next for it. 10th house Uranus transit is fantastic. It's when you create something new, create a new business, create a new career for yourself. This is when people take chances and revision their world in terms of career. If you're young and this is happening in your 10th house right now, it's very lucky, because as a young person, you may be setting up your future and you're going to be very open-minded about career prospects, and being open-minded can really open up doors for you. So yeah, very excited for you. And definitely this is a lot. Let me summarize. This transit is very important in January, February, in terms of what you do and like your mindset and how you organize things. And then as March comes in, it will become external, and it will translate into relationships with others and career opportunities. So I can't say enough about how positive this is for Leo placements. You go, girl. Okay. And so the Leo placements that will be most affected by this is the rising, the sun, of course. If you have Jupiter in Leo, Mars in Leo, those kinds of transits are going to be very benefic. Okay. And Venus in Leo for love. So Mars in Leo for work, Venus in Leo for love. Okay, so let's see some tarot. So if you don't know this spread, the next two represent kind of where we're going. So this is the environment, and now we're seeing where things are turning to. So we have 10 of Swords. You have to come to terms with something, Leo, and I can really identify with this. 10 of Swords is representing acceptance of a situation. Acceptance that a situation is over, acceptance of the past. And it's not an emotional thing that has you broken down. This position is, tolerance and saying, like, this is what it is. And I'm maybe not okay with that, but it's something I've accepted. So it's giving yourself the peace and freedom to move on from bad circumstances. We have the Hanged Man. It really seems as though you've been waiting for a while for someone, if you're waiting for someone, this is particularly for you, obviously, but this could be a relationship with someone who's somewhat shut down and isn't as giving or isn't as, forthright. But I think it looks as though the person around you may have very complicated ways of doing things. I think the intention is there. And maybe this is what's so frustrating about it. The intention is there, but they're getting hanged men. For whatever reason, there's delays, and you keep waiting, and it keeps upsetting you, and it's just not there. And I think that this is kind of like cutting the cord that's binding you and untethering yourself from a relationship or a situation. I had this inspired download and I put it on Twitter, which I usually do, like random little thoughts or whatever. And so I said, if you push, they will resist. And I think this really applies here. So it's kind of like screaming at the ocean. I have this saying, which means if the ocean is doing something, you screaming at it will not help, because the ocean is just going to roar and do what it's going to do anyway. And so if you have a partner who's struggling with something, who's caught up in something, or if you're in a situation that's complicated that is preventing the good energy or things to progress, screaming at the situation or at the person does not resolve the situation. It only complicates things. But it's understandable, because I do sense as though there's been emotions caught up with this and you've been trying to fix it, Leo, or, come to terms with it. It's normal. It's all normal stuff. But I think that you're coming to a place of acceptance and understanding to the point that now you're free to walk away if you need to. And I think Venus aspect to Uranus, and for people who are new to astrology, let me show you that. So as I mentioned earlier, Venus and Uranus are in positive aspect together. I think this week, January 26th through February, let's say 5th or 6th, is going to be a time of release, rethinking things, having a new approach. This may also apply to your career. So if you're stuck in a career and you're trying to make it happen, if you're working for a company and you're trying to get them to see your perspective, and it feels futile, like a dog chasing its tail, and your passion is in it, right? Your heart is in it. This might be a time when you finally find reprieve and be able to at least emotionally distance yourself from it, so not so caught up in whatever's happening. But I do feel as though it's coming, because the Magician and the Eight of Wands wants to bring it to you, and Hanged Man is just a delay. So it's Neptune. We're going to have Hanged Man all over the place, because Neptune is a huge aspect to Jupiter. I would say if you're trying to work through a situation and it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you the type of companionship you want or the support, then I think that a wise timeline, provide you decide your own timelines, but let me give you an astrological idea. April 8th, if it doesn't resolve by then I would wait with my decisions regarding these issues till then. Because with Neptune, something might be progressing, and all of us are going to experience some kind of boon by some kind of positive miracle event on April 8th. So look forward to telling you more about that. Okay, so we have the Devil next. That's Capricorn energy. So this is all your 6th house. Very busy. You might be really run off your feet. 4 of Pentacles. I think that also a lot's changed for you, maybe financially or in a practical way, so much so that you don't have a good holistic understanding of your physical environment at this time. And I think that there's a need to sit down and take a look at your money, take a look at everything that's going on, because it requires a new level of management. It's like you've made a lot of money or maybe invested money in a lot of directions. And now you have the Devil and the 4 of Pentacles, and that is in some way, like there's a need to take account of what you have, whether it's money. Not everybody's like wealthy to do with money, but maybe you've learned a lot of skills. Like let's use art as an example. Maybe you're an artist who has picked up a lot of skills, like maybe you've learned computer skills, or maybe learned to paint with oil paint as opposed to watercolor or something. So you have all these tangible skills that you have picked up, but you have to integrate them to make money off of it or to be successful with it and integrate it into your art. So it feels as though you have things that have shown up for you, be it skill, money, resources, whatever, but you need to take a look at them and you need to kind of, you know, put it in perspective. Okay, so we have Ace of Pentacles around you. The more that I see financial or career-driven opportunities coming into your life. The North Node is in your 10th house from now until July 23rd. We'll talk about that more later, but it's very important for you to be aware a lot's coming your way, Leo. I think so. A lot's coming financially. And if you're caught up in an emotional situation with someone or getting over someone at this time, I really want to emphasize to you to focus on your career. Don't miss this opportunity. The transit is great. It's really good. It's really great. Okay, so then we have the Four of Cups. There's an offer coming your way. So if you've been waiting for an offer, it's coming your way. The Four of Cups is it's measurable. When I say measurable, I mean that it's not like, you may not be getting a proposal, but you may be getting some type of important offer. Sorry that I sigh. I just get mad at myself for not knowing how to express things. I definitely think for you overall, even whether you're in a relationship or not, Leo, the emphasis is making good decisions for yourself and partnership complementing that. So make sure your boundaries are well figured out through this Venus retrograde and it moving direct. And make sure that you prioritize yourself within that open-heartedness, but prioritize yourself, and pick and choose what you let in, because you have a lot to offer and you don't want someone or a situation to squander it. That's all I'll say about that. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make the energy real. Again, members, you are going to get an extended, and when that video is ready, it'll be in the description or on the Leo playlist. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.